And welcome back into another episode of Pit Stop Pals. As always, my name is Bruce Heller.
I'm Kevin Oliver.
And as Kevin likes to say, welcome to this leg of our race around the world. And once again, we have a show filled with shenanigans of our typical type for you guys. But Kevin, we have a first now. It's our first ever Pit Stop Pals with a guest on.
Woo!
So, the voice you may already hear laughing. If you watch this show, you probably recognize him if you're seeing the visual. The other person that puts up with me for a whole recording every week and deals with my nonsense on a consistent basis by hosting a show with me. My
And he's a
co-host
saint
on
for that.
Tribal Council Chat, a co-host on New Generation Challengers, and my co-founder of the Reality Realm Network, Brett Parnell, is here.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here on Pit Stop Pals. Looking forward to this episode. I know Kevin and Bruce, I'll tell you what it's about, but it's a perfect episode for me to join because it's straight up my expertise. Also, if you're watching on the Zoom and you're probably pretty confused right now, Bruce and I are not the same person. We may be matching. I went a month ago today to the Taylor Swift Eras tour at Wembley Stadium and sent him a t-shirt from that event.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This wasn't even planned either.
No.
We were supposed to record this episode almost a week ago now, and I was going to wear this because it was the first time recording that Brett, and since Brett was on, I wanted to wear the shirt he sent me, but so I just figured we hadn't recorded the episode yet. I'd still wear it with Brett coming on. I had no idea he was going to do the same thing, but this is going to be a fun episode, guys.
Love it. Yes, I'm excited.
What were you raising your hand there for a second? Are you objecting to something already?
No, I was showing you 4 days. It was 4 days ago that we were supposed to do this.
That's right.
I said almost a week. I didn't say a week. We're over halfway there.
Living on a prayer. Okay. So today our topic is locations, our top locations that the Amazing Race has gone to. And this is perfect for Brett because he is our resident world traveler.
That's right. I went at the same time as I was at the Eras tour. I also went on a cruise and got up to my 41st country that I visited now, up from 37 before this trip. So getting there up to 50, I'm looking at maybe trying to like a couple more cruises to get to 9 more, maybe Egypt in there next year is top of my bucket list right now.
I want to go to Egypt more than anywhere else because I have just always been fascinated by and liked learning about like ancient Egypt.
Yeah, same.
So I want to go see all the ruins from that and see the Cairo Museum and everything.
And they're coming out. It's just finishing construction. It's delayed because of COVID. But if you haven't looked it up, Bruce, and you've only seen the old Cairo Museum, Google after the episode Grand Egyptian Museum. This place is going to be the best museum in the world.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the one I've heard of is literally called the Cairo Museum, I thought.
Yeah, the Grand Egyptian Museum is like 3 years overdue now for construction, but it could open any month, and I just can't believe what I'm looking at online.
Nice. So, the three of us, and Brett, we kind of invited Brett to take the lead on this episode of what we wanted to do. He's the guest. And our homework was for each of us to come up with a list of 10 favorite locations that the show is going to.
So for Bruce and Kevin, they're going to do the 10 favorite locations the show's gone to. That's how we're going to start. We'll alternate. Then we're going to go to mine, and it's a little different for the audience. Instead of it being my 10 favorite spots from Amazing Race, it's going to be my 10 favorite destinations from the Amazing Race that I've actually been to, so I can offer a little bit of firsthand insight. Then after that, the three of us are going to talk about places that the Amazing Race has not visited yet that we would like to see them go.
Yes.
So if one of you want to take it away with your list, we can start at 10, start at 1, start at whatever you want. Mine goes 10 up to 1.
Yeah.
All right, Bruce, you can go first.
So I have from Amazing Race 36. And a lot of this was the scenery, but I thought the baseball field challenge was cool too. And that is when they went to the DR in 36.
Nice.
The last leg before the finale, I believe.
Yes, that was a great one. I love that pick, Bruce. I went to the DR on a cruise last year. And when I was there, I naturally, being in the DR, big Red Sox fan as I am, wore my jersey and my Red Sox hat to Puerto Plata. And as we were driving to my shore excursion, the tour guide saw what I was wearing and said, "Hey, I'm gonna tell the driver to like drive 2 streets off the road." And he took me to where Pedro Martinez grew up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I also love and the DR. The thing with this was it was the last challenge of one episode, then the whole leg of the next episode. But that first challenger at the end, when they arrived there in the first episode, it's a baseball field challenge, and they got to meet Bartolo Colon. Like that's
oh wow,
cool. How the show got him to be a part of this and hand out clues, I have no idea, but that was cool.
I remember seeing him pitch at the old Stade Olympique in Montreal, Quebec, when I was younger.
God, yeah, he pitched for a while, but
and wasn't Ricky or Cesar from the DR too?
Maybe. Let me see if I can get information on them.
One of the legs they were from there, so I don't remember if it was the DR, if it was a different one.
Well, Wikipedia has their hometown listed as New York, so let me do some research while someone else gets to number 10 on their list.
Okay. Well, I gotta think about this because I did not label these 1 through 10. I just did 10 of them.
I just did 10 of them too. That was just the one at the bottom because I added it the most recent. My top 2 or 3 are my top 2 or 3, but after that I just started
pick any order. It doesn't really matter.
Okay. So a lot of my picks, or at least some of them, are kind of sentimental. Related more than anything. I guess I'll start from the bottom of my list too and just go up. Number 10 for me was a leg from season 20 of The Amazing Race where they went to Hiroshima, Japan.
Oh wow.
And
I remember that.
Yeah, and I chose it well, for one, Japan's a super cool country for one, but how I call it sentimental is I actually had an uncle who died at Hiroshima.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Cesar is originally from Mexico, by the way.
Okay.
So the opening leg in Puerto Vallarta.
Okay.
So you were close.
That's close, yeah.
It has the letter C in it and an I in it, so close enough.
So yeah, Hiroshima, Japan. Bruce, what do you got?
Oh, I went before you.
That's a great pick, first of all, Kevin.
I remember seeing that. He does his list, or are we rotating 3?
It's you and me, Bruce.
Yeah,
we've went over this like 7 times.
Well, I know, but it's confusing.
No, it's just you.
But okay, no, before Bruce goes, I remember watching that episode in Hiroshima, and it was amazing to see how well Hiroshima has rebuilt since the nuclear bomb was dropped there.
Sure, yeah.
So mine, and I have much less race watching experience from Kevin to pull from. Mine comes from season 7, and it is Botswana. And so one of the things and the reason I wanted to watch this season, and I watched this in like 2020, was Rob and Amber. And I think this is the leg where one of the teams like turned their Jeep on its side or something.
Yeah.
Everyone's like stopping to check on them, and Rob just keeps driving. And everyone thinks he's so awful, but his thing is like, there's enough people there. What difference am I going to make at this point?
And by the time that those two teams, they're already just like, oh, just go anyway. But no,
everyone hated them that season by that point, so it was just another reason to not like Rob. But the scenery was cool. The little jungle Jeep things were cool.
I think this one would have been number one on my list if I was keeping the same theme as yours. And ever since watching this episode specifically, I always say, like, if I get a chance to go to Southern Africa because of this episode, I will travel between Johannesburg and Victoria Falls through Botswana as opposed to through Zimbabwe or Mozambique.
Zimbabwe's fun to say, by the way.
Yeah.
And their flag is cool. Very colorful.
Yes. I like that pick, Bruce. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
My next one.
Terrible pick. Awful. Oh, you didn't say it yet. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I didn't say it yet. But for most of these, I picked a like actual like the city they visited versus just the country. But for this one, I picked the whole country of Italy because I love Italian food and I love Italy. And every time they've gone there, it's just a really fun atmosphere, and the people are cool, and like I said, the food is top tier.
I thought about Italy because I ended up not choosing it, but in our rewatch of season 25 that you and I just did, the Italy episode was great, gave us fun content, lots of funny quotes. Wasn't that the one where they were like driving race cars through the hills?
Yes, it was. And there's actually 9 different seasons of The Amazing Race that go to Italy. So
yeah.
Well, I thought of our season, and that was the one where Robbie like wanted to get pizza right after he just did an eating challenge, I think.
Yes, that happened.
What a fountain of content Robbie was.
That is a great pick. Kevin, I just went to 5 different Italian ports on this last cruise. And yeah, absolutely great country. Recently there, I was in Rome at the Vatican. I was in Pisa to see the Leaning Tower. And the best day of all when we were there, I got off the ship in the morning, climbed Mount Vesuvius all the way to the crater of the volcano and walked around the edge of one of 4 active volcanoes in Europe, hiked down, and then went to L'Antica Pizzeria da Michele, one of the oldest pizzerias in the world, and had authentic Neapolitan pizza in the center of Naples. So yeah, I'm over jealous. That country. Amazing.
That's incredible.
Okay. What was on the pizza? Because I hear Neapolitan and I think of that ice cream that's chocolate.
Yeah, it was chocolate and vanilla and strawberry. Yeah.
No, Neapolitan pizza is the authentic Italian pizza to represent the 3 colors of the Italian flag. It is red tomatoes that are grown on the side of Mount Vesuvius, green basil, and white fresh mozzarella cheese.
Yum.
That sounds good. I figured it wasn't the ice cream, but that's all I could think of, so I had to ask.
But however, the ice cream is also Neapolitan from Naples because they were the first place to put different flavors of gelato into the same product and serve it as one. Hey,
Bruce, I think you should try to make your Neapolitan pizza since you're like a cook, scientist, inventor person.
I still need to make the spaghetti pizza, which I did find a picture of online that I sent you after that someone did.
Well, then you can make vanilla chocolate and strawberry pizza.
I don't like chocolate ice cream though.
Me either, but
the best ice cream is clearly mint chocolate chip.
You're messed up. You're messed up. No.
See, I love having both of my co-hosts on here because both of the dynamics are coming out. Me and Kevin are just throwing shots at wherever, and me and Brett are just tending to agree more often. Just having both dynamics at the same time is funny. My next pick, back on track though, comes from season 7 again. The country is Argentina, but the scenery specifically is when they were going through the Andes Mountains, which was really cool looking. But also, I love those little like chocolate mint candies, the Andes mints that have the mountains on the wrapper. And so, for both the candy and the scenery, I'm going with the Argentina leg of season 7.
Oh, that was a great leg. The two girls driving towards the ocean when they were supposed to drive through the mountains was just hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, maybe some of the best game-changing strategy in Amazing Race history. Boston Rob recognizing that he can quit a challenge, and as long as he can persuade one other team to also quit, that he's gonna not be eliminated, it's just genius.
That was that leg, wasn't it? I remember
that was that leg.
I forgot this is the leg that was.
Yeah.
I had to do some research for this one, honestly, but that was
so
cool.
Yeah, this is a great one.
Yeah. Argentina is a beautiful country. I like, unlike you being mean to me, Bruce, I like your pick.
You're mean to me all the time.
I have not said a mean thing since we started recording. Anyway, my next one is
great pick.
Thank you. I appreciate it. My next one is from season 35. A country that I really want to visit. This was Dublin, Ireland. I love the
Dublin's a city, not a country, by the way.
He said Ireland.
Ireland.
I know. Well, you said a country I'd like to visit. Then
is Ireland. It was implied. Ding dong.
You would have done the same thing to me. You would have corrected me on that.
No, I would not have. But I love Ireland. I love this, like, the Irish countryside is beautiful, and so yeah.
Nice.
That's a great pick, Kevin. It's also a country that I have been to, though for a very short period of time. I was just on a layover there. But I did get to go to an Irish pub in Dublin that bears my family name on the front of the pub.
That's awesome.
So that was cool. Fun.
I love that.
Until it got to that awkward moment when I made a casual joke to the bartender about how I'm related to the founder of this place, and they're like, "No, you're just drunk." And I'm like, "No, here's my ID. It's my last name on your business."
What'd they say then?
Then he believed me.
Nice.
It's like, that's actually funny. We've never got somebody come into the Parnell Heritage Irish Pub that's actually a Mr. Parnell. It's awesome. Named after a dead guy, Mr. Parnell, who's a very famous Irish politician.
And you studied political science, so that makes it even funnier.
So you're going to one day be a very famous Canadian politician that they're going to name a Canadian pub after.
We'll see.
My next one it was a fun leg overall, but I'm picking it for a very specific reason that wasn't even a spot where a challenge was at. It was just where they had to go to get a clue. From Amazing Race 31, I'm choosing Vietnam. And the reason is that, like, when they had to, at the beginning of the episode, to go get their first clue, they had to go to this, like, indoor snow park place and sled down a hill. And it looked very snowy and wonderful, like a winter wonderland, but it was indoors. And that place seems really cool. So I'm choosing Vietnam because of the indoor snow place.
Seeing it's in Vietnam, we should send the people that are the cast on mine and TT's podcast to this indoor snow park. They might chill out a little bit.
One of them wouldn't, but I don't think they ever will. I'm 2 episodes behind, but I saw a clip of her and Darrell on Instagram today, and I already need to catch up.
Well, I don't completely know what happened in this week's episode because for some reason Prime Video hasn't posted or put this week's video up yet. It's driving me nuts.
I don't. Yeah. I don't either. I just saw a clip of Laurel and Darrell kind of talking back and forth in the elimination arena. That's all I know.
Oh, well, not to get too much into the challenge, listen to the New Generation Challenge podcast for that.
Yeah. So Vietnam, that's my pick.
That's
because of the snow place, but there was some cool scenery outside of it too. And 31 has an awesome cast.
That's a great choice, Bruce. I have not been to Vietnam, so I have nothing to comment about it, but I have been to Thailand. It's a beautiful region of the world. I would love to go there if I went back, but I think Cambodia might be higher on my list. Solely one, because the Anglo temples, but two, because as a big Survivor fan, as you know, I want to scuba dive in Koh Rong. That would be amazing for me.
And also, you mentioned Thailand. Shout out to Thailand. They hosted a season of Survivor. I was trying to think of a descriptor for that season, but I'm just going to say Thailand
there isn't
hosted
one.
A season of Survivor.
Yeah.
Brett, I appreciate that you mentioned the Cambodia thing, though, because as much as you want to scuba dive and Koh Rong, I want to ride a tuk-tuk on the beaches of Cambodia like Keith Nail.
That would be amazing.
But
I have ridden in a tuk-tuk in Bangkok. They're a lot of fun.
Oh, I bet. I knew you were going to say. Bruce, I knew that you were going to do that. So my next two picks are actually not even leaving the country.
Nice.
This one being on 7 different seasons of The Amazing Race. Hawaii is what I picked because I absolutely love the state of Hawaii, and I want to go there. And so
me too.
More than most places in the world.
When we did a locations episode on Tribal Council Chat, Hawaii was one of the 3 locations I want to see a season of Survivor on.
Yeah, so I remember that.
I would love to go there. Also, not technically leaving the country, but it feels like it is because it's not connected to
40% of the way to Japan.
In Alaska, like still in the Union, but you have to travel a lot farther to get there than other states.
Correct.
Unpopular opinion, Alaska should be one of us.
Yeah, well, it's not, so.
Dang Russians.
Well, yeah. But Alaska is another place I'd like to go to. That seems cool, but.
Yeah, a friend of mine from Seattle goes up.
So I'm going to go to Hawaii first because I don't like cold weather.
A friend of mine from Seattle goes up on the cruise ship to Alaska every few weeks.
Nice.
Wow.
So we've done a lot of speaking about Cambodia. And so that was actually the next one up on my list. Is
nice.
One of the seasons, and it's one I've seen, so it's either 7 or in the 30s, went to the Cambodian temples.
And we're just going to pretend that Bruce didn't just admit to being a Survivor or a Amazing Race podcaster who's only seen 7 seasons of the Amazing Race.
I've said that on the show before. That's one of the reasons we're doing the show, is to get me deeper into it and watch more seasons.
Well, that's always good.
I've never hidden the fact that I haven't seen every season.
But we don't bring it up often either.
I mean, TT and I both joke about the fact that we're challenge podcasters podcasting on a Battle of the Eras and that I've never watched any of Era 1's original shows.
I've seen the challenge from 13, I think, forward.
Yeah.
That was a 2020 thing for me.
You've watched more than me, and I have a challenge podcast.
I'm aware. But, oh, wow. This conversation is a great advertisement for our network, by the way, saying all the things we haven't watched of the shows we talk about. But yeah, the Cambodian temples. Survivor Cambodia is one of my favorite seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that immediately. It's the Angkor temples, the 3rd tribe on Survivor Cambodia that opened up for like 2 or 3 episodes for no reason, was called Angkor. And I want to say they filmed the intro of that season in those temples, and then they went back to them on like a reward because
that's right
on that reward.
Yeah, that's the one where he stole the tuk-tuk.
Yeah, that's right.
And he also said
from Keith saying, if you had asked my friends back home if I was in a Cambodian temple or on Mars, they'd probably think I was on Mars before they'd think I was here.
I was literally about to quote that. Stole my line.
Keith was amazing.
Amazing Race is so great with scenery and with the culture, and I just remember, aside from the Survivor aspect, just really cool views. I loved the temples. So.
Yeah. My next one, like I said, another domestic choice, the one of two that I had on here. I already said Hawaii. This one is a lot more personal because it is from season 34. They went to Nashville, Tennessee, and I am a huge country music fan.
Nice.
And they went to the Ryman Auditorium, and I just want I could talk for hours about country music. So Nashville is like a place I want to go to so bad. And so even though the Amazing Race travels all around the world, I had to highlight a couple of things that are right here that
are
incredible.
That's the city I would love to see. Haven't been yet. Thought about trying to get up when I was on a layover when I was coming from Mexico back to Canada, because the Canadian men's national team and the U.S. men's national team were playing a World Cup qualifier at Nissan Stadium that week.
Oh, cool.
But didn't end up being able to find a flight that would have made it. But definitely someday have to go to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nashville's a cool city, for sure. This next one of mine, I believe, is from 32. And it's Colombia. And specifically, they went to a salt mine.
Nice.
So, like, mines.
I know somebody from Colombia.
What?
I know somebody from Colombia.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
But, like, mines and caves and stuff are like, we just finished 25, and this little, like, lagoon cave thing that they were jumping into the water and had to swim into. Stuff like that. It's just really cool looking to me.
Yeah.
So, Colombian salt mine from season 32 is what I'm going to go with here.
You specifically only want to go to the salt mine? Like, fly into the salt mine, leave the salt mine, see nothing else?
I'm almost out of salt in my kitchen. I need something to put on my food. So just take the little shaker and scoop. And then
I'm just going to say, and I haven't done this yet, but I know people who have, but Cartagena in Colombia is one of the most underrated cities that's on the Caribbean, just because people don't think of a South American city as being a Caribbean destination.
Yeah. I had empanadas from a Colombian food truck recently, and those were very good.
Nice. That sounds good.
Bruce, I'm just going to say that sounds like the most expensive grocery trip of your life.
Yeah.
Going all the way to Colombia just for salt. That's dedication.
Not just salt, empanadas too.
Fair enough, I guess.
Which they are empanadas. The first time I saw them, my mom had to tell me they're not empanadas because I thought it was pronounced similar to how Canada's pronounced. But they're pronounced empanadas, and they're basically little fried pillows with meat inside, and they taste very good.
Oh, Bruce. So this is my other pick that was a full country and not a specific place in the country. This is the place in the world that I want to go visit the most out of anywhere, and that is Australia.
Nice.
Good on, Mike.
Keep your day job, Bruce. Keep your day job.
But Kevin, you can try Australia versus the world too.
I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah.
Huge news in the Survivor world this week with that.
Parvati, Tony, and Suri playing against Australian All-Stars. like George and Shawnee. This is going to be epic.
And I think they're bringing back Luke from earlier Australian seasons.
Yeah.
And David, maybe? I don't know. It's a huge cast. I'm sure they're going to be announcing more people. I'm sure there'll be more Americans we've heard of also. So.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Because
they're doing all of the world, not just USA. There's some South African, New Zealand, Quebec. Those are French Canadian Survivor that's going to be on the season.
Yeah, I think those are the only 3 US people we're going to see on there.
French Canada has its own version of Survivor.
Yep, Quebec does, and it's completely in français.
Is it good?
It's half decent. They filmed it in the Philippines. I don't speak enough French to know a whole lot of what's going on, but I speak enough French to be able to watch it.
Well, that's a whole lot more than I speak. I know bonjour and baguette and Eiffel Tower.
Totally fell, Bruce. Totally fell.
And that's why we like subtitles.
Yeah.
Okay, but subtitles are helpful if it's a foreign language. If it's an English movie,
French is a foreign language.
I know, but like I have friends that will just turn subtitles on for anything we watch. I'm like, I want to watch.
That's annoying.
No, I don't want to read the show.
My friend Tanner does that, and it's because he's like, he only hears like every third word.
That's
like,
fair.
He doesn't have very good hearing anyway, and when you combine that with distractions, he has to be reading or he's gonna miss everything. Fair.
My hearing is okay. It's listening that I'm not good at.
Amen to that. You're up, Bruce.
Okay, so this one is a callback to our season 25 rewatch that fans of our show just heard us go through a whole season, so they probably don't want to hear me rag on about it even more. But we spent 2 episodes in this country, and not just like going at the end of an episode, the pit stop is in another country. We spent 2 full legs in Morocco. Nice. One of those was Kevin's favorite episode of the season. I think it was the first Morocco episode. Very cool scenery. 25. This cast is incredible. Go watch our rewatch if you haven't seen the season. But Morocco was fantastic. I love the scenery. Was that where they did the like goat milk thing too, where they're like shaking the bag?
It might have been.
Just so much fun, both of those episodes, and we spent 2 whole episodes in the same country, which feels rare.
Yeah, that's good.
You made a face when I said 2 whole episodes. Was this on your list also?
No, it's not. But I kind of forgot which place was 2 whole episodes, and so I thought you were going to take the one that I have on here, but didn't. So I'm good.
But Morocco was one of your favorite episodes of the season, so I thought that might be on your list.
I loved the Morocco episodes. Don't get me wrong; they were great, but I have a place that's at the top of my list that I'll talk about from this season.
And Nick Sumu, just shout out for those of you who don't know listening. Morocco is going to be hosting the African Cup of Nations soccer tournament, so that might be someone I might be hoping to pop into.
Ooh.
Who would you go rooting for in that soccer tournament?
Egypt, Mohamed Salah, Liverpool player.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Morocco's mine. Another one from the Tribal Council Chat Locations episode that I wanted to see a Survivor episode in.
That was good.
When we did a fan cast, I based my fan cast season off of putting it in Morocco. So
yeah, cool. Yeah. My next one.
The AI intern ChatGPT, shout out to
unpaid,
helping me come up with Moroccan tribe names.
My top 4 are all kind of back in that sentimental way. And so the first one I have here is from season 26, Windhoek, Namibia.
Nice.
I actually knew a couple that were missionaries in Windhoek, Namibia.
Oh, wow.
And so I love that they went there, and it's just Windhoek, Namibia. I like it.
Nice. So my final three are kind of in order. These are 3, 2, and 1 for me.
Nice.
Number 3 is a place that multiple seasons have gone to, and just the scenery is so cool every time. Like, off the top of my head, I know one of them was like a palace. One of them we saw some sort of mahal. And that's India. I love the scenery anytime we go to India with this show, which has been at least a few times.
Yeah, it's a country they go to pretty often, I think, just because India presents some challenges for travelers that you just don't really get anywhere else. But it's such a great country to film in. There's so much diversity of the culture, of the animal life, of the religions, of the dietary.
The architecture is that's what stands out to me, is just how cool some of these buildings look.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great pick.
Just so much fun every time we go there. Pit Stop Pals on location, live from India, coming at you sometime.
Are you buying my ticket?
I didn't say a date. I'm giving us plenty of time to spend up. That time may be 2045 for all I know, but
okay. My next one is another place where I personally know people who have spent years living there. A guy in his family actually started a school that grew from like 20 kids their first year to they're pushing over 200 now. It's a private Christian school in Kampala, Uganda. Season 31 of The Amazing Race went there.
Yeah, that's a destination I've always wanted to visit, with some of the history there and then some of the wildlife as well. I've watched a lot of documentaries on the Entebbe airport raid. That's probably one of the historical events I'm most fascinated with learning about, and would love to go to Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great pick. My second one, again, going back to 25, is the Philippines. And here's why: is me and Kevin talked this about a lot on our show. And that's because so many of these countries and stops are in these like grand locations, or it just really cool looking, or I've annoyed one of my two co-hosts, but oh well, that's always. But these 25 episode, maybe 2 episodes, I think, in the Philippines wasn't through these grand locations or anything. It was through the slums, which is a really cool change of pace.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about that through maybe 1 or 2 of our episodes previously. So I had to put that at my second favorite on this list.
I love that pick. Shows you a whole different side of the country, despite the fact that it might not be the best advertising for the tourist board, because the Philippines does have some beautiful places to visit as well.
They do, but it was just a cool change of pace.
Oh yeah, it would be, especially for the show and to challenge the teams that are competing in a race.
And just plowing through a wet rice field with ox is always going to provide good content, especially with the cast we had.
It was incredible. Okay,
go ahead and kill me now because you look annoyed. I feel like I took your other spot that you talked about earlier.
I'm going to hold on to every comment I have for now. My number 2 on this list is from the only country outside the United States that I've ever been to. Kingston, Jamaica. I have not been to Kingston, but I have a special place in my heart for the country of Jamaica. It's absolutely beautiful, incredible.
Where did you go in Jamaica, Kevin?
I flew into Montego Bay.
Nice.
But then I traveled 3 hours inland to a little village called Luitisvale in the valley, where I served on a mission trip for 10 days.
Nice. I was in Jamaica for the first time last year in Ocho Rios and at the Duns River waterfalls.
I was at Ocho Rios on our we had a fun day in the middle of our trip there. We went to the beach and we spent a few hours in the marketplace.
Nice.
In Ocho Rios.
Nice.
Yes.
So my number one comes from it's a favorite season of mine, partly because the team that won was the team I was rooting for from the first episode. And with any reality series season, that almost never happens for me.
Amen.
Maybe Survivor 45. But
of
this
course.
comes from season 34 of Amazing Race. And it is Jordan, and specifically the ancient city of Petra, which
nice.
I have a story on in a second, but for those of you that didn't watch, this city is basically carved into the side of this cliff, sort of. I'll see if I can find a picture to put up on our Pit Stop Pal socials, but the buildings and everything of the city is like carved into the side of this cliff or cave sort of thing. But the story is that my mom has actually been there, and
wow.
I was at college. She took a Holy Lands trip when she was in seminary.
Yeah. Your mom and I have had discussions about a time in a city that's going to come up on my list.
And she's not going to like that I phrased it this way, but back when she was in seminary a couple decades ago, but she has pictures from it somewhere, but she was very excited the race went here, and she's opening. Hey, come talk about Jordan, or at least just, you don't have to be on camera, but loud enough.
Okay.
They're both here.
Hi, guys.
Hello. How are you?
Jordan is like one of the coolest places I've ever been.
I was talking about the race stop there, and when you were texting me when they went there.
So, in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, at the end of towards the end, when they're riding down this passageway between the rocks and they get to that first building, that's called the Treasury. When you go in the building, it's not like it is in Indiana Jones. It's just like one big square room. But that passageway, they make it look really short in the movie and in The Amazing Race. And I was like, wait, we walked for like a long time.
Yeah.
There's people going by us on horses, and I was like, why can't we do that? They were like, that's not in the trip price to do horses. Because it was like, it's been like 25 or 30 years, but
a couple of decades ago, like I said,
it's at least 2 or 3 miles, and they make it look like it's like a really short little but it's a super cool city. It was very advanced when you think about it, but they had like all along next to the pathways little irrigation channels going all through the whole city, so that when it would rain, that stuff would collect. And it went for miles. The city is huge. It's even bigger than what they show on the race.
I was saying, like, I love how all the buildings are stuff and carved into the rock, into the side of whatever cliff or cave it is.
Yeah.
The buildings are just carved into what's already there. That's really cool to me.
Enormous. Like, it looks like a 2 or 3 story building, but it's like we climbed up on top of one of the buildings, and it's quite a haul to climb up on. They're enormous. You can't even get a good grasp of it, but they're really cool because, like, you go inside and suddenly the temperature just drops.
Wow.
So it's really smart how they did that to battle the desert heat and everything, because all around there's nothing.
No. There's
nothing but dirt all around there. It's not even like a pretty, beautiful desert. It's just dirt everywhere. But then they call it the Rose Red City, and you go in and it's like gorgeous. And then when the sun sets, it like lights it all up pink and rosy, and one of my favorite places.
I got very lucky that you came in and opened my door right when I was talking about this.
Oh, I was listening.
Yeah, so
I don't know if y'all know this. My son has a very loud voice.
Well, they know.
Wait, really?
So do I.
Have to put up with me co-hosting every week, and the listeners listen to me all the time.
Yeah.
But my little recording space is like at the end of my bedroom, and on the other side of the wall is her bedroom. So I just thought you happened to come peek in. You peek in when I'm recording sometimes. So.
But I have good pictures from Petra, so
I might take some of those pictures on my phone for our socials.
Yeah, but it was, Brett, if you ever have the chance to go there, you have to go.
Oh, absolutely.
Why only cool. Him? What if I have the chance to go?
He travels all the time.
Well, what if I have the chance to go? Can I go?
You and Kevin go. You might not make it out of there, but well, you couldn't find your way out of a paper bag.
Yes, I could. I'm not Dad.
This is why we would have to do the race together.
Yeah.
This is our deal. I'm very good at navigating. He would have to learn to drive a stick shift because I'm too old to learn to do that now.
I'm not that bad.
But I'm very good with, if you give me a map and give me like quiet to figure it out, I'm very good navigating things.
You're trusting me to give you quiet?
But his job is to eat the gross stuff because I can't do that.
You're trusting.
I could eat if it's like crunchy bugs and stuff like that. If it's crunchy, I can eat gross. I can't do squishy. Like I can't do pudding or Jello or any of that. But it's like the one where they went and they had all the fried bugs to eat. Yeah. Season before last, I could eat that whole plate. That's no problem.
You're trusting me to give you quiet to read a map.
I can.
And also, I'm not that bad with navigation. You're thinking of Dad. I at least am smart enough that if I don't.
Find your way anywhere without a GPS on your phone.
But I'm smart enough to use the GPS. Dad thinks he knows where he's going, then gets lost, then tells me to put it into his GPS. You've been there. That's what happens.
You get to use your phone on the race.
No, but I'm not terrible. If I've been somewhere enough times, I can get there.
That doesn't work overseas.
Well, no. I didn't say you weren't better. I just said I'm not terrible. Thank you for stopping by.
I was going to be really upset that you had a special guest on this podcast that wasn't me, because I love the race more than any of you all. But when I found out it was Brett, I was okay with that within the network. Otherwise, you can't have anybody on here but me.
Okay. Well, and it's locations and traveling based, so like
that makes sense.
He goes on a cruise like every other month, so it kind of had to be him.
Yeah. I wish I did.
Well, I'm general. Might as well.
I don't have that much time off my job.
You work remotely a lot. Just bring a computer on a ship sometime. Okay, you're number one.
Yeah.
My number one is from. They've gone there 3 times, but they were there in season 25. Bruce already mentioned it. Manila, Philippines.
Nice.
When they were there,
Look mine.
25. It really touched me to see the contestants kind of take a step back and be like, I can have a pity party about being in last place on the Amazing Race, but these people are like last place in life, not just the Amazing Race.
No.
And so that really touched me, and I thought that was just an incredible thing for the race to do.
Yeah,
for sure. And on a less serious note, the Ox Challenge was great. We got Brett. I think you listened to our show. We start all our episode reviews off with just funny, out of context quotes. That Ox Challenge gave us like half of our funny quotes for that episode.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, I definitely do. And it's neat how you guys bring that up, because back to when I was in Southeast Asia, I've actually seen oxes plowing fields just like in the show while we're driving in a bus from Krabi to Bangkok.
And you're not sure if you're walking through the mud or walking through something that's a little bit nastier most of the time.
Yeah,
probably all mixed together. The mud, the poop, the whatever else.
Probably.
And I said poop. You tried to dance around not saying it. We're grown-ups here.
Bruce, I've said things a lot worse than poop on this podcast. I don't want to.
I'm aware.
Anyway, are we ready to get to my list?
Yeah, go ahead and hit the sharing button.
So I am going to share screens, Bruce, while it's loading. Quick question, because you said you always agree with your co-host, so I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Well, more than I do with Kevin, but what's the question?
Favorite song on Tortured Poets?
Oh, gosh, I need to think about that.
Okay.
Let me pull it up. Well, here's the thing. And with every album that she's come out with since Reputation, I listen to right when it drops at midnight, then go to sleep. And I did that with Tortured Poets, only to wake up and realize that she dropped this whole second album of it an hour later.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me.
My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys is good. Tortured Poets Department is good. There's a few good ones on that album.
But Daddy, I Love Him is my number one.
Thank You, Amy is fun.
Yeah.
Interesting way the title on that is spelled, if you're wondering who it's about.
So
these are all the names of Taylor Swift songs?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I am far removed, man.
Do you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, The Amazing Race. Greatest destinations from The Amazing Race that Brett
has visited.
So that's the key thing for this list. It'll be a little different. But let's start off with my number 10. And that is the Casino de Monte Carlo in Monte Carlo, Monaco. This is somewhat cool. What you're going to see is all of the pictures. It's like on one side will be a shot from The Amazing Race, and on the other side will be a shot that I took when I was there. So this is me outside the casino. I couldn't find pictures from the show in the casino, but I thought it was neat that this is the one time in Amazing Race they didn't get to choose their detour. They had to play roulette in the world famous Monte Carlo casino to determine which end of the detour they would have to do. And what you see here is the cliffs that overlook the city had the amazing contestants on The Amazing Race were climbing in between mountains up there.
That sounds like something I want to do.
Massive hotels and multi-million-dollar yachts down below.
That building is so cool that you're standing in front of there. Just the architecture with those domes are so cool looking.
And this was from Amazing Race 26, by the way. I put them all up in the title.
Okay. Oh, that's helpful. That was going to be my next question. Cool.
So yeah, this is the same casino that that's the only casino in Monaco and the famous one, but it's where contestants in The Amazing Race had to find the casino and then spin the roulette wheel to determine which part of the detour they would go and complete next.
So did you play roulette when you were there?
It was closed. They only open in the evening, and my ship pulled away at 4 p.m. So we just saw it from the outside.
Dang. Still cool, though.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know where Monaco specifically is, just because I gave this, it's a micro state, I gave the small country's name. It's essentially in the south of France, but it's a small kingdom that never joined the French Republic.
I'm glad you said that. I totally knew that, but for the listeners that didn't, I'm glad
you said that.
But I totally did.
Bruce is a geography expert.
I do like geography. I just didn't know where Monaco was.
All right, so moving on to number 9. And just like this one, you'll notice that I gave specifically the like an actual location from the place. So it's not just like the name of the city or the country for all of mine, but actually somewhere they visited that I've gone. Nice. Moving on next, we have Prague Castle in the Czech Republic from Amazing Race 15.
Whoa, Brett, you look young.
Yeah, that was me in 2016 when I backpacked Europe for 6 weeks.
That's incredible.
Wow, that's awesome.
That was like 8 years ago now.
But oh my gosh, 2016 was 8 years ago.
That trip, Prague was actually where I started. So this Prague's known to be a castle over top of the hill. Where I am standing there is the gates to said castle, and where Phil is with Margie and Luke is overlooking the city of Prague, just in behind these gates.
That is so cool.
So Prague being it's a very medieval city. You see a lot of influences from other parts of Europe. You see a lot of influences from like Paris, from London, but also at the same time from places that the Czech people would have known in the Bible, be it Jerusalem, be it Rome. And it's kind of like all of that coming together.
And I love that you have Margie and Luke on that graphic.
Yeah.
Love them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Same. Moving on to number 8, we have the Pantheon in Rome, Italy. The Amazing Race 24. But I don't know why I put the Pantheon there and then used a picture of the Colosseum. Stupid me. I meant to put a picture of the Pantheon at first, but essentially ancient Rome. I mean, that has to be on the list. One of the best cities that I've ever visited. So much history there. So many things to do as a traveler there. And I actually had the opportunity in 2017, right before we turned to 2018, where I sent in a form to apply for a ticket. They wrote me back and gave me one, and I got to go to the church service at midnight in Vatican City with His Holiness Pope Francis I.
That's awesome.
When was
So
this? I feel like I've seen this picture of you in front of the Coliseum. Was
No,
this your
I
profile
swear
picture at
that
some
was
point?
I think that was a profile picture.
You have, because it was my former Twitter profile picture that I deleted last week.
That's what it was. Okay.
And I didn't delete the picture. I deleted Twitter last week.
Whoa.
It was too annoying, but that's a matter for another discussion.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to number 7, we have Plaza Garibaldi, Mexico City, Mexico. And this is from, if I move it out of the way, from Amazing Race 28. You may remember the big square where the contestants had to identify specific pieces of music that were being played amongst hundreds of mariachi performers. This is the square that I was standing in where that took place. And the building that you're looking at is actually the National Museum of Tequila.
Nice.
Mexico City is, in my mind, one of the best cities in the world. It's home to the nicest people there are anywhere I've ever visited. And I love the slogan that the owner of my hostel told me here, that for those of you who don't know, it's not only the biggest city in the Americas. Mexico City is actually larger than New York City, but it's also the third biggest city in the world after Tokyo and Mumbai. And the owner of my hostel told me when I checked in, Bienvenidos a Mexico City, because 22 million people can't live in a place that's bad. If it was, we would leave, and we don't, because it's amazing.
I actually have been there. It's very cool. Not to this place, but Mexico City itself is very cool.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
I think I went to a castle there.
Nice. It's a city I'd actually consider living in my retirement.
Hey, keep talking. I got to go grab something. So you keep
going. All right. Sounds good.
We're going to unprofessional.
Pardon?
Oh, I was yelling so unprofessional thinking he'd hear me.
Oh.
I'll just do it when he gets back.
Let's move on to number 6.
Yes.
And we have the Church of Our Savior on Spilled Blood in St. Petersburg in the Russian Federation, from Amazing Race 17 in the picture, but also Amazing Race 5 also visited this city, but they didn't go to the church. Now, full disclosure, this is long before the illegal invasion of Ukraine that took place starting in 2022, that's tragically still going on to this day. But St. Petersburg itself is one of the most beautiful architectural cities I've ever been to. Here on The Amazing Race, you see the contestants in circus school, which is a big part of the Russian culture. Funny thing, Bruce, I know that you and I would like, especially being hockey fans, is if you go back all the way to Amazing Race 5, the contestants in Amazing Race had a choice between 2 Russian pastimes called shots or shots, meaning they could either drink vodka on TV, which was okay back then, or they could save 5 slap shots from a KHL player.
Well, one of those sounds a lot easier than the other, but the harder one sounds more fun.
Yeah.
I love the idea that one of the challenges on television, on a CBS show, was, hey, do some shots. That's funny. No way they do that now.
No, absolutely not. But this was what The Amazing Race came out in like 2000, the same year as Survivor. So this would have been in like 2002, 2003, maybe.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that was Amazing Race 5. So it was the first season that I actually watched the show. Kevin, I see you back. We're talking about the Church of Our Savior on Spilled Blood in St. Petersburg, Russia.
Okay.
I was telling Bruce that this is Circus School from Amazing Race 17, but there's also in Amazing Race 5, they went to the city as well, where you had the contestants saving slap shots fired by KHL players at them.
Hold on. No, you told me they had a choice between 2 different challenges on that. Explain the two choices.
The other side of the detour, if they didn't want to save shots in hockey, they had to drink shots of vodka on TV in Russia.
Oh, jeez.
I can't believe that was on a CBS Family Network show.
And the last thing is, fun story before we move on, how I just told you that this is the Church of Our Savior on Spilled Blood. There's a story behind this church that I'm standing in front of that's really cool.
That building is awesome.
Yeah, it's the second largest Russian Orthodox church in the world after St. Basil's in Red Square in Moscow. But the reason it's called the name that I gave is because originally Tsar Nicholas II of the Romanov dynasty wanted to name build a church in St. Petersburg, which he was going to just call the Church of Our Savior after Jesus Christ. Tsar Nicholas II, before it was ever started, was murdered in this square. So it became the Church of Our Savior on Spilled Blood, where the leader of Russia was murdered.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Hey, I just got an email that said that the new episode of The Challenge is up on my Prime Video. Sweet.
Nice. Moving on to number 5, we have The Tube, otherwise known as the London Underground in London, United Kingdom. This is Rob and Amber on the Tube in the challenge where they had to solve riddles that eventually led them to the Sherlock Holmes Museum in London. There's myself riding the best public transit system in the world next to it. And Bruce, you would have loved it. Kevin, you might have been confused, but last month, not only was I riding the Tube, but the cars were just jam-packed and we were all singing Taylor Swift songs the whole way to Wembley at the top of our lungs in the train.
That's cool.
That's me. Yeah.
I remember this. I remember that challenge because I remember thinking is hard for me sometimes.
Amen.
The whole challenge of having to solve riddles and be smart and think, I would be doomed.
But in the case of Rob and Amber, they used their Survivor fame to their advantage and found a local who knew who they were, who just knew everything about London.
Well, true. So I just have to find someone who listens to Tribal Council chat religiously and be like, hey, give me answers.
All right, moving on to number 4.
Yeah.
We have the Nepuche Lagoon in Cancun, Mexico from Amazing Race 3. In this season, the contestants had to board jet skis and go out and find a clue somewhere within the lagoon in Cancun, in Mexico. It's a second Mexican destination.
That would
the
be
picture
so fun.
You're seeing on the right is a picture that I took while I was on a scuba boat of a 8-foot croc that just got onto the dock of the dive center and decided to relax in the sun for a little while.
That is so cool. Okay, I love alligators and crocodiles. And I did not realize that's what that was till you said it because the picture's kind of zoomed out. But I see it now. That is so cool.
The funny thing is with that picture, I had this picture on my phone another time when I was diving here the next year. But when you dive, the marina that I go to is on the lagoon side, but you obviously go out into the ocean. The ocean was rocky that day. We had some bad weather. So this guy who was a new scuba diver looked at me and said, why don't we just scuba dive off the dock and not way out in the ocean where it's bad weather? I held up this photo to him and said, that's why. You will die.
Cool, I love alligators and crocodiles. That is cool looking.
Well,
until they try to eat you.
If you ever get a chance, Bruce, to spend some time in Cancun, there's some good spots to sight alligators and crocodiles all over Lake, very close to the hotels.
Okay, I'll bring Kevin with me in case, like, as bait, in case they decide they don't like me and want to come at me. Just shove him in front of me.
Hey, I know where I'm going. Let's go.
All right, number 3. We are going to go to a city that I've talked quite a bit about on this podcast already, and that's Wat Po in Bangkok, Thailand. All the way back from Amazing Race 1. If you've seen the original season, you'll know this statue of the reclining Buddha in Bangkok. It is home to the first fast forward ever done on Amazing Race.
Nice.
That's incredible. Brett, what year was that picture of you taken?
That would have been 2019.
Oh, wow.
In a tuk-tuk of all things, like you talked about
Yes.
Yes. That's Siam Square riding a tuk-tuk down one of the busiest streets in Asia.
I love that.
And in the Amazing Race here, they did something that and it was neat that they really integrated the local culture into this fast forward, because what they had to do was deposit one Thai baht coin into all of the jars that were around the room, and then count up to see how many individual jars there were within Wat Po. And when you go there, you actually see monks doing this for their prayers.
Oh, wow.
So it's not only something they built for the show, but this is a full-time feature of the Amazing Race that both Buddhist monks and even some normal Thai people will just do as part of their religion on a day-to-day basis. And it actually takes place every hour of the day.
That's really cool.
Nice.
All right, moving on to number 2. We have Amazing Race 10, the D-Day beaches in Normandy, France.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
This challenge, I just loved watching, seeing the contestants skydiving. In this case, they went onto Omaha Beach. In the picture that you're seeing me in 2015, that is on Juno Beach, the Canadian landing site, Omaha being the American land, one of the 2 American beaches. But this is where thousands of men gave their lives for our freedom, coming over from the United Kingdom to break Nazi control over Europe in that first little bit of France, and eventually led them all the way into Berlin.
That is so cool that you've been there.
That is awesome.
It was one of the most influential places I've ever been.
Absolutely.
And even to this day, it's like, I'm sure the American beaches are no different, but the emotion it brings out as a Canadian when you're walking down the street and see French citizens that to this very day have Canadian flags on their balconies is something special, knowing that my great uncle was on one of the ships that day.
Very cool.
Wow.
And then finally, our number 1, and I'm going to have an honorable mention I forgot to mention to you, because there's one destination I wanted to talk about on this podcast. It means a lot to me, but I didn't want to say it was one of my favorites. You'll see why, but we'll get to my number 1 first. And that is, of course, from Amazing Race 24, Anfield Stadium, the home of Liverpool Football Club, my second religion, my favorite sports team in the world. You'll never walk alone. And there's Leo and Jamal, the Afghanimals. Leo is basically reminding me of our star striker, Mohamed Salah. In this, while he's in uniform, the 2 of them look very similar. And what the teams had to do, most of the leg actually took place in Wales, but they had to fly into Liverpool, so they just sent them to the stadium first, and each team member had to score a penalty kick against our third-string keeper on the pitch at Anfield. And I mean, I don't know about with you guys, with your favorite sports teams, it would probably be similar. I would leave my job on a temporary leave of absence and do the Amazing Race, even if it went home, going home in this leg, just for the opportunity to kick a soccer ball on that beautiful pitch in that red shirt.
That's awesome.
Cool.
I've been to 3 games though, 2 in the English Premier League, one against Sunderland and one against Leicester City. And then I went to a Champions League game there, which was a very big experience. It was Liverpool against Ajax Amsterdam, which just so happened to be the first football match in the UK after Her Majesty the Queen passed away.
Wow.
All right, so moving to my honorable mention quickly before we go into the top 3 places we would like to see the Amazing Race go. And as far as that honorable mention goes, like I said, this to me was one of the most special moments that's ever been on the Amazing Race. It comes from the first Amazing Race All-Stars, which I believe was season 11. However, I didn't want to say it was in my top 10 for obvious reasons, and that's Auschwitz-Birkenau in Poland. Seeing the teams driving through the Polish countryside in the middle of the night and lighting a candle on those railroad tracks where so many people I know have said that their grandparents, great-grandparents have gone through, some of whom survived, some of whom were murdered there, was such a special experience for me to get to visit and to remember all the people who lost their lives at Auschwitz, but also in the entire Holocaust and the memory of 6 million Jewish people at that time, but also to see the Amazing Race get the teams to slow down a little bit was special. They put them all on the same bus. They weren't there to race. They were there to say, we are in Poland. We are going to take a few hours to recognize that in this country, 6 million Jews were murdered by the Nazis for no reason other than the fact that they were Jewish.
Mm-hmm. That gave me chills. That's incredible.
And if you ever get a chance to visit this place, I always tell people it will be disturbing. It will make you sick to your stomach for 6 whole hours that you're there. But this is somewhere that every single person to live should get a chance to see. And it's probably, I would say, if you're going to go one place in Europe, it's here.
Thank you for sharing.
That's very cool. Thank you for sharing that. That picture, is this picture of yours coming into the concentration camp?
That's right. No, this is in the camp, looking towards the exit. The other side is just a parking lot.
Oh, okay.
But what is behind me where I took this picture is all the, what is essentially sheds where people that were there were forced to stay. And then behind that is the ruins of the crematoriums where people were gassed alive.
Wow.
All right, so let's move on to our 3 places they should visit that we would like to see. I'm already in the slideshow, so do you guys mind if I just hit to the next screen and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, next. So on my number 3, I put up places that they should go. I didn't realize I put this slide in. My number 3 is Belize in Central America. This is one that I did pick the whole country. Belize is not a huge country, so I think I picked for this the whole country because I wasn't really sure what they could do from how to run the whole show. But Belize was a country I stopped at on a cruise. You'll notice there that we went tubing down the Rio Grande of Belize. This is actually the same river that runs. Bruce and Kevin, you would probably both know this. I'm in the same river stream where you see me on that tube that eventually runs between the ocean and the lakes up near the ruins where Survivor Guatemala was.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
So that river, you're maybe looking at about a 45-minute to an hour drive to the filming location of Survivor Guatemala.
Nice.
And then what you're also seeing there is the Great Blue Hole. It's this natural phenomenon in the ocean where even though most of the water is shallow in that dark area, it just sinks thousands of meters. So that's probably the most famous part of Belize, both for visitors, but also what they are most known for having around the world.
That's kind of terrifying.
You can scuba dive in it.
Oh, cool.
That's really cool.
There's some great diving down there in the hole that you wouldn't be able, a lot of wildlife you wouldn't see in shallower waters.
Wow.
Interesting.
All right, who wants to go next?
Kev.
Okay. Number 3 for me was, well, I wrote this, and right now this would be not possible. It's too dangerous of an area at the moment. But it's another place that I think would make eventually for some great TV that kind of goes along with my Manila, Philippines answer for the other one, in that it's kind of more of a humble beginnings thing that kind of would help see things from a different perspective, and that's the country of Haiti.
Oh,
wow. I thought you were about to take my number 1. You didn't. But yeah, that would be very impressive to see if the security situation improves, by all means.
Mm-hmm.
Having been to the Dominican Republic, sharing an island with Haiti, it's certainly not easy, but that hopefully in the future, that country can at least be safe for the locals, and then maybe start to open up to foreigners who can bring some investment in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I would love to see that. Mine is kind of a little more bizarre answer. To be honest with you, I have no idea what they would do here, but I think it'd be really cool to see them go to Antarctica for some reason.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Again, no clue what type of challenges they'd do or how they'd make a whole leg out of Antarctica, but I want to see them go there, and I want to see shots of penguins.
Nice.
They'll play with the penguins and build igloos.
Ice fishing, I don't know. Go ice fishing and catch.
That would be fun. There's a lot of ice in there, so they could maybe do like one challenge in Zodiacs and do another one that would be cross-country skiing or something.
Have you been there?
No.
Oh,
not at all.
You know names of places in Antarctica, so I thought you might have been there.
In Zodiac, as in like the boat Zodiac, not a specific place. I've been in this.
That was the name of a city there or something.
No, there's no cities there.
That's funny. You think there's cities in Antarctica?
I didn't. Then he said that, and I'm like, oh, he knows the names of the places there.
I've been in the Zodiac boat in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico.
The thing with Zodiacs is I don't really pay attention to. The thing with Zodiacs is I don't really pay attention to astrology, so I don't know much about them.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
No, Bruce, it's the inflatable motorboat.
What that means or really care. Sorry to half the cast of Survivor 45, but
it was just Kendra. Chill.
Yeah.
I know, but there was a scene early on where it was like half of one of the tribes was all like geeking out about it.
That would have been the Blue Tribe. Yeah.
Ready for my number 2?
Yes.
Number 2, we have Luxembourg City, Luxembourg, one of the smallest countries in Europe. This was actually the country that I visited just for one day because my goal was to go over to that soccer game in England, and then it turned into also paying my respects to the Queen as a Canadian monarchist. But this was a country I decided to visit for the sole reason of getting my 30th country before I turned 30, which was done 2 days before I turned 30.
Awesome.
So what you're looking at in the picture behind me is the royal palace of the Luxembourg royal family. In the picture without me in it, what I thought would be a neat thing for the Amazing Race that they could do is find the grave of General Patton. which is in Luxembourg, not in America.
Oh, why?
Wow.
Because he wanted to be buried with his men that died in the Second World War.
Oh, that's really cool, actually. I did not know that.
So this is the American Cemetery of Luxembourg, which was built after the United States forces and Nazi Germany fought in this area. And another neat thing about Luxembourg, just to throw it out there, because for those of you who didn't know in the audience, Luxembourg is a global financial hub and banking hub. It's one of the richest countries in the world. And therefore, not only local transit, like your local bus around the city, but all public transit in the whole country is free. So this I thought would be a really neat leg of Amazing Race, that they could open a clue in, say, London, Paris, Amsterdam, somewhere close by, that would say, travel to Luxembourg City, you have $0 for this leg of the race. And the teams would freak out, but they'd actually be just fine.
Nice.
That's cool.
Who's next?
I'll go.
What?
Do you want to go or do you want me to?
Well, I figured we'd go in the same order that we did the first one.
Well, then go ahead. What's taking you so long?
You didn't give me 2 seconds to breathe.
Okay.
So 2 things. The second one for me is actually from a country that the Amazing Race has visited, but a city that they have not.
Nice.
The second thing here is, if you are a fan of Pit Stop Pals, I always throw on a random hat in the middle of the show, and I haven't yet, and that's on purpose, and that's why I left the room to go get my hat.
Oh, no.
I want to go to Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Nice.
That is incredible. You should grow your real hair out long enough to do it. For those of you listening on our audio platforms, his hat has built-in dreads on it.
And it's got the colors from the flag of Jamaica.
That would be an amazing spot to go. There's many different challenges they could do involving the water out there and the jungle.
Yes, Bruce. Yes.
I have also made a quick hat change for those of you listening on audio. This is a hat I bought from Six Flags when I was there during Christmas time. And I bought it when I was with my mom, and I'm sure she wasn't thrilled that I was wearing this while I'm out with her. But it looks like the poop emoji, and it has a red nose, and it has reindeer antlers.
Oh, I thought those were hands.
No, they're antlers.
They were T-Rex arms.
And I was about to throw a hat on just to piss off 2 Americans because I had my England national team hat down here, but I realized that I brought it upstairs 10 minutes before we started. Hey, it's called football.
That's okay. We won the Revolutionary War, so I guess we're even.
Okay, Bruce, what's your number 2?
I like volcanoes a lot. This place is known as Islands of Fire. It is Vanuatu. It's really cool. There's something they could do here. I don't know what. I don't know the islands that well, but it looks cool.
Yeah, it does.
And there's a Survivor season.
I've talked to Eliza in person about Vanuatu, and it sounds like such a beautiful country. So that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
And there's probably a lot they could do in terms of like things they could do that would incorporate volcanoes or beaches or whatnot.
Yeah.
All right. Why I thought Kevin was going to, you guys are both done, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Why I thought when Kevin made a comment about Haiti, but saying that it might not be feasible at the present time, that he was going to steal my destination, is because I can't help but to put my favorite city in the world at number 1, and that's Jerusalem, Israel.
That's cool.
This is a place that I always tell people, why is it my favorite city in the world? You have the country of Israel is roughly the same size as the US state of New Jersey. And you have Judaism, Islam, Christianity, Europe, Asia, Africa, all coming together in one spot, which is the old city of Jerusalem. there's so much that they could do there, whether it be locating certain things in the old city, which is basically one giant open air maze, or going out of the city and doing things like climbing Mount Masada or going to the Dead Sea, or finding historical artifacts that are in the Israel museums. This would be a perfect destination for the Amazing Race, and it's a shame that with just the unpredictability of the political system that it happens in Israel, in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, that they haven't been able to, for insurance purposes, I assume, and just for what happens if something breaks out again, they haven't gone here, but it's probably the one world-renowned city that you're just like, wow, how hasn't the Amazing Race been to Jerusalem?
Mm-hmm.
That would be very cool.
And so what you see there is, to the left is a picture from a hostel I actually stayed in, where I did not book a bed in this hostel. I booked a mattress where we slept on the roof. So that is what you got to see when you woke up in the morning.
That is incredible.
Sunrise coming up over the Western Wall, which is the holiest site in the world for Jews, and the Dome of the Rock, which is the third holiest site for Muslims. And then next to it, that's myself standing at the Western Wall.
That is so cool.
Wow. Well, Brett, we had the same number one.
Oh, nice.
Yes, sir. I also put Jerusalem. I can't say it as elegantly as you did, but what an incredible place it could be.
Oh, yeah. I'm hoping to go back there as soon as I can. I have some friends who live in Jerusalem, and we're in broader Israel as well.
Awesome.
That's very cool.
What about you, Bruce?
I don't know if they've been there or not. Maybe. But I feel like Portugal would be cool for some reason. There's some
nice
scenery there.
They've done some places in Portugal, but there's a lot of places they haven't been to. So,
did you not prep?
No, I did. I just had a couple different things written down, and I never decided between them.
Yeah, I
think I had St. Louis written down at some point because that's my hometown. I think it'd be really cool. I just don't know what they do here.
I'm sure there's quite a bit they've done.
I just don't know what it would be.
They did whole legs in cities with less to do than St. Louis. They've done they did a final in Detroit.
I mean, the whole season 8 with the family members was all on North America, primarily the United States. So they went to like Montana and Wyoming and stuff like that.
You say mostly in the United States, and that's correct, Kevin, but just fun note, they ran the whole 99% of that finale in Toronto and Montreal before crossing the border at the very last second.
They did, yeah.
Huh, interesting. I also love just the contrast of the screen of like the really cool pictures he had on his slide, and then I'm wearing a poop emoji hat. Oh, it's even better now that my screen is bigger. This is going on the thumbnail for sure, me in this hat.
Well, I better get in my hat too.
Okay. This was a fun episode, guys.
Yeah, this was. Thanks for having me.
Definitely the longest Pit Stop Pals we've done by far. But
easily.
Ton of fun. Definitely.
Thank you for giving us your expertise, Brett.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks again for having me. I love listening to you guys. And maybe we'll be back for another one in another off season sometime.
Yes, that would be great.
Before Kevin starts our sign off, that I'm going to try to not mess up like I usually do. We haven't decided our next rewatch yet. Do you have a season you love that you think would be a fun rewatch, or a recommendation?
I mean, we talked about it a lot, and it's one I could rewatch with you guys because it's the only season I have a DVD set for, even though Amazing Race isn't on Canadian Paramount Plus. And that's 7 with Robin Amber.
Noted. All right. You want to start our sign off, Kevin?
Just a fun fact, because I just mentioned 7. There was a team of 2 men in a gay relationship on season 7 named Lynn and Alex. And this is at the time that LGBTQ couples had rights in Canada, but not in the United States yet. They were invited to get married at Ottawa City Hall, where I live, by our local radio station named Hot 89.9.
Oh, wow.
So after the fame on Amazing Race, they came up here to Ottawa for their wedding.
Also, the guy that plays Zach on Big Bang Theory was on that season.
Really?
Also, you said you keep talking about season 7, and I'm wearing my
nice
shirt. So
nice.
Yeah.
He's not. Jelinski is no longer the most recent first boot, though.
Nope.
He is not.
All right. Do you want to start our sign off? Go.
Good luck.
Be safe.
Travel safe, buddy.
Travel safe, buddies.
Go.
Go.